Hello there. Thank you so much for choosing us. This is Channel One Television and you're watching Breakfast Daily. It's time now for the news review segment. I have my guest in the studio. The show is very interactive. We'd like to hear from you. We'd like to know your thoughts and your comments on the various topics that we will be discussing. So join us via WhatsApp and of course on YouTube, Facebook and on X. We are there. We're live on YouTube. Well, my guests are in studio. Let me do a quick introduction and then we begin the conversation. To my immediate right is the Honorable Member of Parliament for Afriyie South, Frank Afriyie. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Anna.
Good to have you. Good to have you. Seated next to him is the former Member of Parliament for Anya Sotum, the Honorable Dixon Adumakokisi. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good to have you. Let's get straight into it. We'll start off from the camp of the New Patriotic Party because some 220 former MMDCEs have endorsed Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. Dr. Bawumia has declared his intent to contest the flag bearership position of the party. Which primary or which race has been slated for January 31, 2026? Now, these former MMDCEs who have endorsed Dr. Bawumia after a meeting yesterday earlier met with Kennedy Ejapong, former Assin Central MP, who has also declared his intent to contest the flag bearership race. Now, we've heard a lot of commentary surrounding this. Some have even described the ex-appointees as engaging in political prostitution. But, Doc, let me start with you. It's not just two people who are going into the race. In fact, nominations have not yet been opened. And so what do you make of these former appointees declaring or endorsing an individual as against the others?
Well, let me thank you for the opportunity and good morning to you and your viewers. You do a very important job. Let me start off with the date, which has been proffered as January 31 for the presidential primaries. And the election of a new flag bearer. We're of the opinion that to make every candidate get a fair chance, that date necessarily will not be in the interest of the party. And I say this with the greatest of respect in the sense that when it is done, then what? If anybody feels unfair, it might make it very difficult for whoever wins to have the entire party with them. And if you become a flag bearer of a smaller grouping within MPP, your chances of winning the general election is reduced. And for that reason, I'm troubled by the fact that if we're not careful and do not follow past and agreeable constitutional provisions of doing building your base upwards, then we may, if we had apathy at 2 degrees, we'll be looking at apathy at maybe 38 degrees if we go this way. That is my worry. However, I must admit, quite frankly, that Dr. Brady Champon is very ready. And I think the other candidates, because I believe one of them is very comfortable with this, is also ready. So it's not necessarily about candidatures' readiness, but the opportunity to market themselves and make a strong case, and then also to ensure that the base of the party is ready or in readiness to go and work and bring our party back to the executive office come 2029 January. So that's one key thing.
The date is now, just about 6 months out. Is that ample time? Is that enough time?
That is why I'm thinking that we need to make sure that there's a fair playing ground, and when all is done, it's not skewed to one direction, and that the candidates have an equal chance. If not, you may become a flag bearer of a smaller grouping within the MPP. And that is recipe for losing the general election. So are we choosing or making flag bearership a priority over the presidential, race itself? And we need to be guided by just what happened in our immediate past. Now, moving on to the declarations. I remember Honorable Afriyie, the current minority leader, was very clear to us, even in the 8th Parliament, that he felt strongly that our defeat was contributed largely to some of these declarations, which made some people very upset. You know, and he advised strongly against the members of Parliament doing public declarations, in the sense that if things even go bad, basically they should be the ones who further the reconciliation process.
Right.
And that is in the interest of the party, that our current members of Parliament conduct themselves in the same manner as the leadership of Parliament, so that they stay neutral. And let me also add that, you know, en bloc declaration is no guarantee. Even in my own small experience, when the entire chairmanship of my constituency declare for you, there are no guarantees that their polling station will fall in line. In fact, there are some places where, you know, the polling station people do not like even the chairman. And for that matter, his declaration might even sway them to go the other way. But be it as it may, if you're a very serious-minded politician, you come to terms with the fact that, listen, open declaration is no guarantee that the person actually may even vote for you. And let me add that, one, there was an initial story of the MPs, and just by cursory glance, that room did not have 50 people. Neither did it have 30. And it begs the question, the integrity of, you know, you know, the contents that they put out. That were there 60 people who were members of Parliament in that room? No. And I think it was an editorial glitch, maybe. And in this game, numbers matter. And I was not expecting that really from that bit, because I believe that you know, your integrity is at stake, and when there are less than 30 MPs in your house, you don't go saying 60 plus. At any rate, declaration isn't everything. So that was done, and then fast forward, about 10 MMDCs take a stance and make a declaration. And in about 2 hours or so, another, you know, more than the 10 also say that, listen, we went and had discussions with all 3 of these people. At no point did we make a declaration. So why would the bad apples, quote unquote, go and make this public declaration that all of us, be it as it may, these things are very crucial. And let me share with you the reason why it was politically mature for the MMDCs who even decided to do this, to do that. Because Dr. Barney Champon in the NEC meeting was making a strong case that the MMDCs should be added to the next register for the elections. So if you are people being considered to be put in the register, and you make an opening declaration for one candidate, does that not worsen your appeal to be added? It worsens. So this shows how unfortunate, misguided, and not well thought through the whole idea of declaring, because people are making a case to add you to the register, and you are already telling us that when I get into the register, this is what I'm going to do, and you've already increased your resistance to this. And as it stands now, whatever happens, the people aligning with Kennedy and Brian Champon and the other candidates will say that, oh, if you've made this declaration, who in their right sense will then encourage you to be added? You know, when it became very obvious to John Boadu that the TESCON folks were going to lean a certain way. There was a court case that was put on TESCON for our internal elections, and they didn't vote because somebody felt that bag was in somebody's pocket. Do you get my whole point?
Yeah.
So I would advise that moving forward, if anybody has intentions of declaring in the interest of the party, listen, after all, we know declaring to me is no guarantee that you vote. Assurance. You understand? So
what does that mean?
What I'm saying is that
let's say good morning to Larry Dogbe.
Yeah, Larry. So my key point is that any astute politician is even more wary when people are giving you funds. Oyomo, massa, only for you to be laughing at the wrong side. And to conclude on this, one, in the interest of the party, for cohesion, and for us to move forward, these opening declarations, and listen, let me even add that a few days ago, the General Secretary of the party, after the supposed MP's declaration, came out and said that it was unfortunate, unacceptable, and if not some reasons, I mean, these people will be sanctioned for doing opening declaration because of where we are as a party. And if we are minded by the findings of, our post-election
the Quay committee
opposite victory, I won't use the word, but opposite victory.
A defeat is a defeat. So I try to give it some name.
Opposite victory. It was so clear that our candidate then, with all those public arousal and fanfares, led us to the ditch, or shall I say, to the slaughterhouse, and we got slaughtered. And this has been our worst performance. And the truth remains that even the 88 seats we won on the presidential, we lost more than that.
Yeah.
Which is a huge blow in about 8 regions.
8 regions.
0 presidential.
Yeah.
And and
people really haven't paid attention to that.
And these are the things that, somebody was laughingly saying that the MMDCs were there at the constituencies where we even lost the most. And for that matter, they shouldn't even be out there talking. So my key
please
thing,
wrap up for me.
My key thing is that, listen, we are not perturbed by the declarations. But
the Brian Camp,
the Brian
Champon camp, right?
And well-meaning party faithfuls. When you have less than 10 people declaring, and then you claim that the entire 200 plus are declaring, I mean, that's your take. Another group came out within a few hours. These days on TikTok, they say a few moments later.
Yeah.
So a few moments later, another batch of, MMDCs came out and said, hey, we were in the room with you. We did not do an open declaration. How then do you act as a bad apple? Especially, as I'm saying, when we have interest in being in the register. Why do you go and do this to us?
Very well.
And I must say, not all of them are political prostitutes, as you were alluding to. And I think
those are the words of a political analyst.
Well, I mean, and I'm saying that if he has seen a few hours later that video of other members of the entourage saying that, hey, this is unfair. How can over 200 go and then 5 or so of us go and stand somewhere and say that, oh, we've done an open declaration? And what killed me is that he said they have a statement. Yes, we can all have statements, but is it signed? When you're doing a petition, the people that signed should be people that can be identified. Yeah. And at that level, if you've been a former MMDC, I would hope that you you can appreciate governmental or governance. And for that matter, I cannot go and make a statement that Dogbe stands with me as MPP, when invariably I've just shared this platform with him. I don't have a right to go out after this meeting go and say that, oh, Dogbe, editor of
The Herald.
The Herald is strongly with me as MPP, when he hasn't said that. Right. So it is unfortunate.
Sure, thank you, Doc.
And to stand with Afriyie and the General Secretary of the party, we should not encourage, and I say this with the greatest of respect to those who handle Dr. Bawumia, that listen, let's not encourage this. We have a party to build, and let's return to the core values that make us MPP, which is democracy and the rights of the ordinary people on the floor.
Very well. Thank you, Doc. Honorable, I don't know if this observation is true, but with all that's happening with the MPP, this should excite you as an NDC MP.
Not really. But let me use the opportunity to extend greetings to the good people of Afriyie South and of course our viewers across the globe. In the interest of multi-party democracy, it is absolutely imperative for us in the NDC to take keen interest in what is happening and if possible, proffer some solution by way of free consultancy. Free consultancy. You see, the reality is that we enrich our democratic architecture when it's multi-party.
Right.
One man show sometimes doesn't make it exciting. But for us, we see this whole thing as a family affair, and then the level of intrusion will be measured. We think that it's indeed a troubling time for the MPP, and coup should prevail. It is as if there is a family now without elders. And that is how this whole show is turning out to be. And the endorsement...
Could that be the reason why they are looking to elect a flag bearer earlier?
Well, no matter what, when you turn democracy upside down, it is no longer democracy. For all these parties, we have constitutions, we have conventions, we have laid down processes of achieving results. So ordinarily, you want to build your party from the base, because whenever you have problem, the problem you have at the base is most significant, is huge at the base than at the top of the party. And it is often very easy to settle scores at the top rather than the base because of level of illiteracy, understanding, and the rest. And so if you really intend to fix your party machinery genuinely, you do not start from the top. What you must seek to do is to build a strong base, a strong foundation upon which your building must sit. Indeed, elsewhere, I said the MPP is attempting to install a king before putting together kingmakers. It doesn't make sense. Even in our traditional setting, you must get your kingmakers who peruse all the candidates and, of course, take every legitimate measure in order to land a perfect candidate for that throne. That way you can guarantee that governance will be at its best. But you see, the endorsement by these MMDCs, for me, is of zero effect. It's of no consequence. There is absolutely nothing in our body politics like one for all for one. Yes, especially so when you are dealing with people who are likely to be about 60% the cause of MPP's woes. I have been part of government before, and it is the case that after the fight that ends with victory, party officers are considered for various positions, including being chief executives. Some of these chief executives have not been voted for. Almost all of them have not been voted for, unlike those of us who are MPs. When you are an MP, you enjoy legitimacy. You know very well that your face was on the ballot paper, and therefore you need to be accountable, material-wise, your time, dedication, commitment, and everything. But you see, we haven't inched closer to where, or we haven't got to where we need to elect our MDCs yet. We haven't elected them. And so most of them operate just as autopilot. There's no accountability, arrogance of power, as Bawumia himself has made us to believe. At the village or the local level, you make somebody's day by even accommodating the person to your office. It's not just about how much you give.
Yeah.
But some of these chief executives, they actually rub it in, showing to party people that they have arrived. And indeed, it's accounted for a large chunk of the reason why they suffer so much apathy from within. And so if this group of people who are now seeking, excuse my words for lack of a better word, relevance, are now going out endorsing a particular candidate, then that for me reinforces one other cardinal point. Which point is that duty bearers within the MPP, people who occupy strategic government position, they are trying to evade accountability from within. Otherwise, you were in power. You were in charge of substantial amount of resources. How come you drop so low by way of electoral performance? You claim you delivered ABCD, certain key thematic areas at the local level, at the national level, and you perform so abysmal. And these are the people who are now endorsing candidates left, right, center. For me, I think it's even a blessing for those who have not been endorsed. They should be jubilating by now, smiling all the way to the bank. Because this kind of endorsement is certainly not helpful. If you like, put this to a test. Go to any district. Get the chief executive who is endorsing any of the candidates. Get potential delegates to vote. Secret ballot, and you see the result that will come out. And so there is going to be a competitive election within the MPP no matter what. Even if maybe the candidate of the establishment wins, I hold a strong view that his machinery has even crash landed ahead of takeoff. I'm telling you the gospel truth. Yes, because the approach is raw, it's crude, it's unrefined, it's unhelpful. You see, when you serve as a flag bearer, coincidentally, you are like the father of the party. So, at the the barest minimum, you take absolute responsibility for everything that ensued or happened. But when you now go shaking responsibility, attributing the cause of your defeat to others and accepting none, on top of it, one of the greatest things you could do was to consult with people who have contested with you in the previous primary. Muhammad did so at a point. Professor Joshua Alabi contested him. And he managed, post the electoral defeat of the NDC, he managed to bring all these people on board. These are not arts that you mastered in the public space. You go to them. You use your back channel diplomacy and reach out to all these people. Because you see, it is not about winning the internal primaries. What is at stake is whether you can win the general election. And I'm telling you that the machinery has already crash landed.
How? Of the machinery?
The MPP machinery for 2020.
The entire party machinery.
It has crash landed. It doesn't really matter who will become the flag bearer. Yes, the rate at which it's going. I'm telling you the absolute truth.
These are some of the things that the leadership say they're trying to solve by going into the primaries early.
It's a wrong fix.
That it will give them ample time to heal and prepare for 2028.
It's a wrong fix. The leadership itself is engaged, with the greatest respect, in scratch my back, let me scratch yours. If you have generals like party chairman, general secretary, so and so, national organizer, look, you took this party from people who brought it to power, and you were in charge of countless amount of resources, with a party that enjoys so much visibility, the MPP. And you brought this kind of huge humiliation, defeat, electoral defeat. Instead of accounting for why you are where you are, Your preoccupation is how to do an early Congress. For what? And they claim that the flag bearer must be out there, visible, solving the problems of the party. It is not for nothing that candidates who stand in the name of the NDC and the MPP always perform very well in general election. It is because of the machinery that they represent. The party structures. So if Dr. Bawumia or the Honorable Kennedy Agyapong or the rest are that formidable, capable of winning election on their own, they should go and try themselves as independent candidates. I'm telling you the gospel truth. They won't cross 5% mark. Yes. And so any, excuse my word, right-thinking party officer should rather be interested in fixing the party from the base. But not to say that, look, let's run away from all the problem. Let's go, take a flight to the top, elect a flag bearer, and now the flag bearer will be able to do solve all the problems. How can one person fix all these problems? Even the rate at which the internal processes are going is big enough for anyone who loses at the primaries to say that, oh, I won't cooperate.
Well.
I'll sit and see how things unfold. And so for me, the whole show won't help the MPP. This is the time for elders within their fold to say, hey, guys, let's pull the brake. The trajectory we are trying to traverse will not help us. Will not help us achieve our overall game, which game objective is that we are winning or we are going to win the 2028 election. But for us in the NDC, you can see, we are trying every possible means to fix the rot we have inherited. The economy is being fixed. I mean, every sector of the economy is bouncing back. And that is what Ghanaians are expecting. At the barest minimum, we hope to have a very strong, responsible, constructive opposition that will be walking meticulously the path of democracy. And so by that way, Ghanaians will say, oh, these people have recognized and realized their misgiving, their shortcomings, and the rest. But the rate at which they are going is so annoying. You ask that, how can a candidate, a flag bearer, who once upon a time told all of us that E-Levy was good, after losing, he says that, oh, he knew E-Levy was bad, and yet he approved of same, defended it as the head of Economic Management Committee. He sought to take all the credit, then now he runs away, even from his own
publicly,
boss.
I mean, even during the debate in Parliament, has publicly put out there that he's always been against the E-Levy.
No, that's just for the cameras. I mean, your action must prove it. Your action must prove it. And you know, this is the same person who told us, all of us, that look, how could government prioritize building of cathedral? Where was he? You were second in command.
But not
then,
the one in command.
No, second in command.
But not the
it's
chief.
as good as potentially the one in control. When you are second, you are warming up to be...
You can only advise.
You are warming up. Indeed, has he advised? He told all of us that, look, he was just an obedient mate. When the vehicle was skidding off the road, going to that dangerous slippery slope, he couldn't even advise the driver, that driver, please, pull the brake. We are going off track. And so the only consistent factor about Dr. Bawumia, for instance, is his inconsistency. Of course. Very well. But I wouldn't like to dwell on him. For us, we are so okay that let's mind our business. Let's deliver the tangible to Ghanaians as they've given us their mandate. That way, we are very sure that when we even beg Doc to come and be our flag bearer, assuming we do not have people, he will win on the ticket of the NDC.
Very well.
As it stands now, the rate at which the NDC
is
going,
that attractive?
Absolutely attractive. Absolutely. We are in parliament together. We converse with them. Yeah, just like Doc has said, how can about 20-something people go out there when cameras are clear? We all have the ability to analyze and count. And you tell us over 60 people. I mean, how?
Camera no lie.
Camera no lie. The evidence is there. And you see, so,
no lie.
and so it means that internally then PP is still not ready to purge itself of these whole ills.
Very well.
That made them to suffer.
Very honorable. Thank you. Thank you. Let me hear from Larry on the MPP and its early Congress and of endorsements, open declarations and all. Your thoughts?
Thank you. Before I start, I have some, confession to make.
Please do.
You know, Frank was my senior in secondary school.
Is it?
Yeah.
I think it was just a year.
No, it was 2 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are you trying to expose the man's age?
Oh, no. No, he was a good guy. I mean,
Right.
he never meddled in, the usual abusive, seniors attitude and so on. He was a good guy. So I'm happy.
He didn't homo you.
Oh, no. He didn't. I mean, he'll come to the, dining hall. And I mean, the man will sit somewhere, minding his business. It's like, Charlie, we are here to learn. We are not here for,
Theatrics.
Yeah, theatrics.
Yeah.
The own to me kind of theatrics.
But you didn't mention the school.
Bishop, of course.
Let him mention,
Biako.
Biako. Now, talking about MPP, I think that there's trouble coming. Yeah, there's trouble coming. Because it appears that it's just a few people who are committed to this, top-down approach. Instead of the bottom-up.
Up. Yeah. Which has always been the case.
Precisely. Now, I am foreseeing a situation where this approach will lead to the election of an individual who then influences who becomes the constituency executive, polling station executive, regional, executive, all the way. Exactly. Sure. Now, what you then have is a situation where people wouldn't be committed to the party's cause. Okay, because I wanted to be
Polling station executive.
Exactly. But because flag bearer didn't like me, I couldn't become. And so once I couldn't, I can't support his beat. You get it? And it cuts across, all through. And so that is a disaster looming. Okay. And having said that, I think that this whole thing came out of the Professor Michael Quay report that is still hidden. That is still hidden from everybody. The role of the government then led by President Kufuor, his failures, all the things, the performance of the various ministers, those he was supposed to sack that he didn't sack, the family and friends thing that he did, which were, which were glaring. That people kept complaining about. For the first time, we had MPs even saying that, listen, fire your cousin. Because his management of the economy was bad. He refused to. Okay? So we haven't appreciated the content of the Quay report.
Yeah.
Okay? So that the party guy down there would know that even he also contributed to some extent towards the performance of the party eventually. Now, the national executives, what they did wrong or what they did right, if it's wrong, they could correct themselves. If it's right, they could build upon it. And others could also learn from it. That also hasn't been appreciated. The report is being kept somewhere.
At the Vatican.
It's become like the Mona Lisa, in France, where you can only, this one you can't even see. In the case of the Mona Lisa, you can see it.
Yeah.
Okay. But here, this one you can see, and you don't know what is. So what was the main reason behind, that enterprise, and how much money went into it? Who is supposed to learn from it and correct himself or herself? Okay, so I mean, the issue goes deeper. But then some people say that, listen, hey, because of that, the content of that report, we want to do something so that we can save the soul of the party. And to save the soul of the party is that let's do the top bottom.
Yeah.
Why? Why? Because each and every issue, has to be addressed. What are we addressing?
You think if they share the committee's report with us, it will make
I
much more
believe
sense.
that, listen, listen, it will be such that even you would have known that, okay, Asimesi, you know, squandered party resources.
Yeah.
What was supposed to go down didn't go
Didn't
down.
get down. Yeah.
Okay, it was hanging, or it was diverted into
yeah.
somebody else's pocket. And, you know, some of those things then serve as a deterrent to future leaders. This one, no. The same people who are part of the problem are the same people who are now being who are now preferring, you know, solutions to whatever it is that has been created.
And that's one of the accusations that the executives are manipulating procedures to entrench their own positions.
Precisely.
Because if they should go into an executive election now, well,
self-preservation, that's what I call it.
You know, and I've heard party leaders, let's say former party leaders, who MPs who keep talking against this approach. They feel that no, it's not good enough. Open up the process. In any case, people have even passed on. Okay, Afriyie marking. People, okay, Afriyie marking.
He is calling for neutrality among MPs.
Yes, and then Chemeza Bonsu, and then who? Atta
Kennedy.
Yeah. Atta Kennedy, is he part of the? Is it still part of the party? Anyway, you won't talk now. So, you know, so we really haven't appreciated the extent of defeat of the MPP, or maybe they themselves also haven't appreciated it. Let's cover whatever it is, you know, hide it somewhere, so that we carry on business as usual. That is what that is where we are, and it's not good for them. Open up the process. Let everybody, you know, contest. Those who have the, you know, the capacity to do that, let them go ahead. Let's also appreciate the Kufuor factor that led to the defeat. For now, he said, okay, he's been shielded in a bunker somewhere, and that all his failures or all his successes, nobody is appreciating it. Indeed, he's not even talking.
Yeah.
He's not even talking. I mean, for 16 years or more, he's led the party. Won you remember when the 2016 victory came? This is unprecedented. Over 1 million votes. They have totally, you know, massacred Mahama. He will never come back. So and so and so and so. And then upon your exit, see the numbers you left the party with. We are now debating whether it was 38% or 40% or 42%.
We lost.
No, but the opposite of we.
All losses are lost. I beg you. Don't take me through that mental, you know, thing. A loss is a loss.
You know,
Please.
so no, but we have to appreciate the numbers because you guys, you know,
Yeah, for record's sake.
yeah, for record's sake. For record's sake, we need to appreciate that.
Men carry me out.
You know, then you have the MMCs. Somebody was asking, so how many MMCs do we have now? So Kennedy Ejimon hosted 284 or 86.
Yeah.
Then Bawumia had how many?
220.
220. And then Brian is having how many endorsing?
No, we haven't made any claim.
No, there's somebody. I
haven't.
I had. You read the news today.
Have you met with them?
We've met, but we haven't made a claim that they've endorsed.
How many did you meet?
I don't have the number. I don't have the number. But my point is that we have not made any statement.
Yeah.
It was a closed door type of meeting. And unfortunately some videos are out. But, you know, we haven't
But
made any.
they haven't endorsed Brian.
We haven't made any statement like that. We were just engaging them and, you know, having a sort of an engagement to share his visions, his struggles.
Right.
So it's become very imperative that we take stock of the numbers of MMCs that you guys have, because suddenly we are dealing with all manner of numbers.
You need a Venn diagram. Because the numbers that supposedly declared for Vice President and then Kennedy, when you add, it's more than the 88.
Okay.
That's why I say you need a Venn diagram. There'll be some who fall in both. Yeah.
A subset of the other.
So we have all this. I mean, we can only laugh.
Yeah.
Because it's becoming very, very, amusing.
Why should you even chase for declarations?
Well, in politics, declarations are,
But what's the guarantee that a declaration will manifest into a vote?
Oh, I mean, you see, MPP believes in a big man theory.
Right.
They do believe in a big man theory. That is their biggest challenge. Let's face it. Unlike NDC that tries to do the grassroots. MPP, what the top says is final. And sometimes it could go against you. I mean, in both ways. The NDC is down there, It's not always the case that the numbers, must influence whatever. Sometimes you need a deep thinker to influence your action. But MPP most often leans on the big man at the top, the Oga at the top, and it goes against them in many cases. He would agree with me, on that. So sometimes, use the endorsement. Imagine Kufuor steps out there to say that he's endorsed Bawumia or President Kufuor. Alan had issue because Kufuor didn't, and he went to town virtually, attacking.
Now we've heard some of these endorsements, open declarations, and yet we were told to fear delegates. So that's why I'm asking if there's a guarantee in there. Well,
at the end of, for me, the delegates now, from whatever is happening now, it appears that there are no delegates now. Do you get it? Because, Honorable, I mean, let's admit, some people might have fallen ill. Others might have passed on. And you need, you need an election to replace all these numbers. So at the end of the day, are we going to have, a lesser number of people or delegates now voting for who becomes the flag bearer? So there are so many things wrong with this, top-bottom approach that the MPP would have to address. In any case, at the end of the day, Mohammed's numbers are quite huge. The NDC's numbers in parliament is equally huge. And we want a situation where we wouldn't have a dictatorship. Do you get it? The other day, they went to parliament one day, by the time we were
one city levy
had been slapped on us. They said, where did this come from? Let's debate it.
They call it midnight
their own MPs.
Yes.
To date, we don't know what happened.
No, exactly.
No, that's not true.
We debated. So you need a very vibrant opposition. You need somebody who can, keep the system on its toes, so that we can tease out, the good aspect of all this democracy. But if this is what the minority is, the opposition is presenting us with, trouble is coming, and we need to keep praying. I think that President Kufuor also didn't help matters in the last election, where he was out there very vocal, playing an active part in the last election.
As in the general elections?
In the general election. I think so. I think that what he should have done was to, his personality now transcends a lot of, this local party.
But that was a general election.
But that's the general election.
So
coming.
No. He said that
Honorable, listen to me.
That brought him to
Honorable, listen to me. So he could, if he had stayed back, today he would have been the guy bringing everybody together, including Kufuor to the table that, hey, Menu Akituwa, you failed this country. You have failed this party. And that, hey, come, let's talk over this. And then party executives, come, let's have a meeting over this as to the way forward. But from what is happening now, I don't think he can even he can even summon a meeting like that.
He should be able to. He should be able to. That, I mean, the general election is way different from the party primary.
Guys, is that?
I'm saying that the general election is different from the party primary. So if the general election is over, he should be able to at least initiate a process to bring unity.
When he calls for a meeting, Kennedy Japan will come to that meeting.
He should be able to invite him. If he doesn't show up, then that's different.
During the primaries.
He spoke during the general election. And the general election, the party he belongs to has presented a candidate.
He said so many good things about Bawumia even during...
Because he was the candidate of the party.
Are you listening to me?
Ahead of that even.
Yes. Why? Google it. I mean, it's not for me. Google it. He said so many things about Bawumia.
A few good words.
A few. So I don't think Kennedy will go into that meeting.
You never know.
Ah, well. But talking about Kennedy, I think that some of the campaigns or transfers are, Charlie, we need to manage ourselves very well. The ethnocentrism
And the religious
of Stephen
aspects.
Amwa, the religious thing of Stephen Amwa. Which one? They're saying that we, as an MPP, we more like, what did he say? That they came out with poverty alleviation strategies for most of the Zongo communities, and then you know the northern country. That is stereotyping. True or false?
True. To an extent.
To which extent? You know, listen. I don't know. You know, there are poor people in my village, or poor people in my region.
The cut across.
In what's the name of his constituency? In Shaiso,
Shaiso.
where he comes from. I'm sure that there are, you know, poor people over there. When you are doing some of these things, you're not saying that you're doing it for a particular class of people. You are doing it across, you know, on board. And so your utterances, that was childish. That was total.
When was this?
He said it over the weekend. Yeah. I mean, that was childish. You don't talk like that. Campaign for your candidate. Project his qualities. If he has, you know, if he has them. Okay? Talk about his temperament. Talk about his, you know, how resourceful he is, or how he can use his whatever personality to advance the cause of this country. But not this, you know. Anyway, thank you.
Right, let me take a few quick messages and then we'll continue. This one says, greetings to you and your producers. In fact, it's on record that former President Kufuor got 39% in the 1996 elections and later won the 2000 elections. Dr. Bawumia got 41% in the 2024 elections. And so it's not entirely true that the 2024 elections was the worst performance of the party so far. It's also clear that the presidential candidate won some of the constituencies that the parliamentary candidates lost, and vice versa. This is Joe Baba from Bogatanga. This one says, good morning from Sydney, Australia. I really appreciate the good work you and your panel have been doing. In fact, I want to fearlessly state that NPP is ready to delete the party if they continue with this election of flag bearer project. The party needs to be reorganized first before thinking of whoever becomes candidate, because if that person is elected as flag bearer, he will be a leader for only a few of his followers. Nelson from Australia sent that one in. Good morning. The MMDCs are about 300 in number and not 273. Honored the invitation to meet Dr. Bawumia. 220 out of the about 300 MMDCs endorsed Dr. Bawumia, and it becomes news. The rest can declare for the other candidates. The MP for Nshieso constituency, Honorable Sticker, declared her support for Honorable Ken, and it's okay and fine. He's even said Dr. Bawumia cannot be president because he's okay, let's not go into that. No, I'll leave it here. Where the messages go in is not good for morning TV, so we'll leave it there. But then let's do a final take. Honorable, for this reverse of the bottom up approach to this top down approach, if the people down there feel that they have been denied the opportunity to either maintain or change national executives, would they be confident enough in determining who becomes flag bearer?
Listen, I think this is not the first time. I'm like, the Democrats in the US, 50 states, they've changed their executives and are ready for, you know, forward march. What is stopping us as a party of one state?
You are the apostles of democracy.
You know, what is stopping us? I think that we are misguided, and that we've as it is lost our way. Well, respectfully, we all know it's public news that our chairman is incognito. He's incognito because of health reasons.
Yeah.
As a medical doctor, I can understand. And you know, even in our constitution, even the president, when he's frail to some extent, he can be impeached or you know, let go. And even members of parliament, when you start hearing things in your head and behaving bizarrely, you know, with some schizophrenia or something of that sort.
Is that what's happening?
No, I'm making my point. That
No,
there are reasons.
you can't make that point, without any scrutiny.
It could
This
be.
family has issued the
Yes,
website
and then
to the-
mention cognitive, something.
Yeah.
What did they say?
Impairment.
Cognitive impairment.
Yes.
So, are you
so-
saying that hearing voices or something?
No. So my
That's
key
just
point.
madness, isn't it?
No. Please, mental health will not be happy with you. So my key thing is that as it stands now, the party is sick. When your chairman is sick, the party is sick. To the extent that our last meeting at NEC, there's been an agreement based on health grounds to let Bute chair the meeting. So, and our constitution is so clear that in the absence of the chairman, the first vice chair. Is in charge, not the secretary. Now, we need to be very careful and think through that. Why will we not change and have a sitting chairman to take us through the next election for flag bearership? Because the vice chair, though acting, doesn't wield as much power, doesn't wield the mandate of the people who will be working for the next election.
But they voted for him.
No, are you hearing me?
I'm listening to you.
The vice chairman,
who is
who's
now
acting.
acting.
Does not have the mandate
Yeah.
of a voted
National
chairman.
chair.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is that when we're going to face another major election, or we're coming out of this crisis, you need a firm hand, somebody who without doubt has been given the full mandate to act as chair. And let me say this, that with the greatest of respect, should we have a flag bearer before the chairman? Whoever becomes the next chairman of this party, the flag bearer will tell him that you can't meet me.
Yeah.
You came to meet me.
Yeah.
And that literally annihilates the party. The control, the power that the party will have is diminished. Diminished in totality. And we don't have a future. And it will be devastating. And I think that we should take decisions that will strengthen the party beyond 2028. I mean, for instance, it's 50-50. We can win or lose 2028. What we decide today should be a decision hinged on things that will keep our party strong beyond 2028. And I must say this, that if we're not careful, one will become a flag bearer of a small portion of the MPP, and you don't have the rest of the MPP with you for the general election. And walking on a half leg, nothing against handicapped people. If you go to the next battle handicapped, we're in trouble. And I think that we need a candidate who would have been selected fairly and agreeable to the masses, not one that is forced on, not one that the game is skewed towards,
Right.
Which then becomes an unfavorable outcome for the general election. So I'll use this medium to say that, listen, though I'm speaking for Brian Champon, I think that the masses should listen, look at the data carefully. This person that said that, the net loss, presidential was a loss compared to the parliamentary. That one is a fact. Whether we won Boko over, listen, the net loss. I was not talking, so in some jurisdictions, like in mine, Bawumia got it, my MP got it. In other places, the MP got it, the vice president didn't. But the net loss, though we have 88 MPs in parliament, there are fewer places that presidential we won compared to the 88. In fact, I understand it was like 70 or so, or 77. So it is a devastating blow. And the fact remains, in some regions it's 0, in some regions it's 1, in some regions it's 2. In some regions where we got 2 parliamentary candidates, the presidential we got 1. And this is the reality, okay? And if in the local parlance, if we fail to go in toto and dive into the data and then look at the data and say that, you know what, maybe to save this party, it might be better I step aside. I mean, that's just, you know, and is it just about me? And is it just about being flag bearer? Or is it that we want to be in power? And Kufuor's advice still goes to all of us. If you are a messenger in a party that is in power, it is enjoyable. Right now, as we speak, 6 months into opposition, la illallah illallah.
You're feeling it.
It's not easy.
Thank you very much.
It's
Gentlemen,
not easy.
I'll come to you to give your final thoughts on this matter, but let me take a quick break here. When we return, the news review segment on Breakfast Daily continues.